to my advisor and my committee, but this is a phenomenal impact that public television can have on children who now are being attacked in many various ways. And we need to protect that service, not just for them, but for me. I don't know about you, but we watch the NewsHour every single night. And the way that the news is discussed by the NewsHour is not leftist. It is the most balanced television series that you could get. And so when I listen to the radio, every time I get in my car, I'm listening to public radio. Yay. And I'm hearing a lot of information about what is going on. So these resources are valuable to so many people. And I happen to be in one of those lucky education and financial situations where I can watch anything I want. But if the funding for NPR and PBS is cut, and it's very likely to happen, then a lot of information that is available to currently 98% of the population in our country is cut off. The network that they've established is going to be shattered. So that's one of my issues amongst all of ones everybody is raising. But let's keep PBS, let's keep Sesame Street on television.
122, I apologize.
No worries.
So it's 137 next?
Yes, I'm going to put it right here. Yep. This is the next up. I would like 3 of you later, when I get a chance to speak, I'm going to ask 3 of you to take these 3 chairs so we really can help these people see how it would feel if they were replaced.
Okay.
My name is Cora Bohai, and like a lot of you, I am the daughter of a World War II vet. My dad had 4 other brothers, all of them served. And my whole life I was brought up discussing about democracy and stuff. And so I'm really passionate about it. But I'd like to start out by saying how disappointed I am and mad that these senators did not show up today. It shows cowardice to me. Absolute cowardice. And to me, their cowardice means that they are minions. And actually in the Bible there's a quote about minions, but anyway, it's submissive followers devoted to doing the bidding of their party and Trump. And they are not concerned with how Utahns will suffer. A recent study done in LendingTree, it was actually in the newspaper today, shows that Utah, along with Alaska and Hawaii, we pay the highest amount of money in groceries. What are these guys doing about it? Nothing. So I want them to stand up and vote against cutting Medicare and Social Security, things that help all of us seniors and our children, so we don't have to live with our children and live off of whatever they can scrape up, to live independently. So, and also, in Utah, we have 5 national parks. We have the 3rd most national parks in the Union. And I want to know what our representatives are willing to stand up and vote no against exploiting them, just to help billionaires become trillionaires. And I really think that's what they want to do, is become trillionaires. And Trump continues to appoint people to an office who are totally unqualified and inept, just as long as they bend the knee and kiss the ring. And I want to know why our representatives continue to vote along with Trumpies to appoint these people who have no business at all being in those offices. I just want to know if they're afraid of Trump's retaliation, or maybe they're just afraid of being berated by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is that really the deal? I mean, and I want to know why our representatives care nothing about our children. They put the worm in the brain dude in to manage health. He has no medical experience whatsoever, none. And so getting rid of fluoride, which the majority of dentists have come out and spoken how important that is to keep our children from suffering from tooth decay. And then also vaccinations. I mean, polio is coming back, for crap's sake. I mean, hello, what is going on there? So anyway, I want to know if our representatives will protect and defend our Constitution and prevent the dissolvement of the separation of powers which protects our democracy. I want them to stand up and vote against that. And I want to challenge our representatives to rise above their fears of Trump, his retribution, the fear of the far-right agenda, to show bravery by backing and protecting the citizens of Utah. I know our representatives are better than this, and I know that they can do better, and I want to challenge them to do it and show up.
Hello, my name is Eva Sanchez. I'm a longtime member of this community. And one of my biggest points as everyone's coming up here and talking that I thought about was that RFK Jr. saying that autism destroys family was very interesting. Boo. However, I thought to myself, like, what's one thing that I have heard over and over again amongst American families that's destroying their families? It's MAGA, right? MAGA is destroying families left and right, friendships, colleagues at work can't talk about things the way they used to. It's horrible. It is horrible. And I'm a librarian by profession, so I also am like really big proponent of education, the freedom to choose what you want to read, the freedom to go and study what you want to study. We recently had the Sunshine Caucus come onto Utah Tech campus and talk to us about why they thought it was okay to do these budget cuts and micromanage what educators are doing when none of them have backgrounds in education. And I was mind blown. And the way that they just talked about their personal reasons why they decided to go into small government, it just doesn't make any sense, right? And you're just getting farther and farther away from those American values of protecting the Constitution, protecting our rights, protecting the amendments in the Constitution. And anyways, so I am a first generation American as well. I was the first one born here out of my family. Both of my parents are immigrants from Mexico. My little daughter that's sitting over there, she was born in St. George. And I am, whenever people talk about veterans and their family, I think about how my parents came to this country out of that necessity, how proud they are to be Americans, to be citizens now, and that they gave their bodies to this country, right? My parents are getting to be about 60 years old, and their knees hurt, their elbows hurt. They've worked in the service industry their entire lives, being here. And they gave their bodies to America. Lots of immigrants come here and give their bodies to America. And seeing the racism and the vitriol that's particularly happening to immigrants right now, it breaks my heart.
Yes.
Because we want to be a part of your community. We are a part of your communities, right?
We're all immigrants.
Together. Yes, we're all immigrants. And we should share love amongst each other, right? Someone was mentioning PBS. I love that Elmo's message was love, and I grew up on that. And a very positive message, something really good for us to remember in these times when you come to events like these. We should all be sharing love and community, and I think that's what makes America great, right? So thanks for letting me take the podium for a little bit.
We're on a roll.
Hi, my name is Lisa Rutherford, and I just want to say, before I make my comments, how much I am enjoying listening to what everybody is saying. I mean, it's just amazing. You guys are so brave, and you put so much thought into what you're saying. I didn't do that. I'm sort of on the fly. But I want to tag on to the first comments that were made about public lands. Yesterday, I was on a Zoom meeting with the League of Women Voters of Utah Natural Resources Group. And what was brought up at that meeting had to do with one of our members, Carrie Dabney, and her husband have the American Public Land effort. It's on the website. They have a website. He is going around the nation, talking to citizens about how important our public lands are. Those of us in Utah know how important our public lands are, and I totally get the idea that we need to focus on the big issues of the Constitution and democracy. I totally believe that. But sometimes it's the little issues that will just drag you down. And what I learned today is that in January, President Trump issued Executive Order 14196, the Sovereign Wealth Fund initiative. This is a huge deal. This is an effort to sell off our public lands, mostly in the West here, and to make people richer. I mean, the only way they can do this, according to what I was watching today, is by giving companies, wealthy individuals, the ability to buy these lands and then give Joe Schmo a chance to invest in their companies, hopefully so that he can make some money. So what they're doing is they're making citizens feel like this is their way of getting rich, is on our public lands. This is a very scary thing. So I would really encourage you to go to the America Public Land website and to read what Walt and Carrie have put out there to educate yourself on our public lands. And let's get ready to fight for our public lands, because it's not just those in the West that love this. People come from all over the world, all over the nation to enjoy these public lands. And if we allow these moneyed people to take them over, we're going to be turning back the hands of time. We have the regulations of mining, which is what they want to do, and they want to get people to have to make a decision. Do you love your public lands, or do you love your smartphone and your electric car and your ability to use AI to write for you and do all of these things? They're going to make people pit these things against each other. And I'm hoping that we're bigger than that our technology is not what's going to rule our decision on these things, because that to me is scary. And anyway, that's also, I wanted to tag on to speaking to people, you know, the right way and not being nasty. Go to the Dignity Index and look into that. This is a really interesting way of dealing with others. It's a 5-level index that gives you some instructions on how to approach people you don't agree with. And we do need to be fair and not undermine people. And we need to have dignity. We need to respect each other. We all come from different backgrounds. So let's just try to be warriors, but respectful warriors.
My name is Laurie Madsen. I'm born and raised downtown St. George, went to West Elementary, Woodward, Dixie Middle, Dixie High, Dixie State. And now I just live a few miles north of here in Coral Canyon, where I am the mother of 2 tweens, and I work as a paraprofessional at Coral Canyon Elementary School. So that's a little about me. Also, my training and background is in speech-language pathology, so I am very aware of the ROI, the return on investment of early interventions for our young children. It is not even close. It is an overwhelming return on investment, including financially, but in a multitude of ways. So I very much appreciate your courage in speaking and bringing attention to that issue. So I do want to ask about the SAVE Act, but first I want to circle back to a word that was said earlier, and that word is impeachment. Unfortunately, I think large swaths of our community would still roll their eyes at me, would write me off as an extremist for saying that word. But here's the thing. Those same people claim to revere our founding fathers, our Constitution, and the framers of it. And you know what? The founding fathers put a mechanism in place for this very scenario. They were no dummies, and they could foresee the possibility of a president behaving as a dictator. And they put a mechanism in place, and you know what that mechanism is? Impeachment. It's impeachment! And our senators and our representative claim to revere our founding fathers and swore oaths to uphold the Constitution. And that's the mechanism they need to utilize. Just think of this. We currently have a sitting president in defiance of multiple federal court orders, including from conservative judges.
And the Supreme Court decision.
And now a 9-0 unanimous Supreme Court decision, and this Supreme Court is solidly conservative, y'all. If there was ever a time to talk about impeachment, it is now. It is now. Okay, so the question I want to ask today to Senator Lee, Senator Curtis, and Representative Maloy. Maloy, I think, already voted to support it, so just Lee and Curtis. Do you intend to support the extreme anti-voter SAVE Act and thereby create new hurdles in my personal access to voting as a married woman whose birth certificate does not match her legal name?
Yeah.
And if so, how do you begin to defend such a blatantly anti-voter piece of legislation? Legislation that you know will hinder millions of eligible Americans from registering to vote.
That's right.
There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. It is a lie. It is a disgusting lie. And given that there is no evidence, what can we interpret of such a vote as anything other than a bald-faced, anti-democratic attempt to suppress eligible voters for their own political advantage? So, Senator Lee, Senator Curtis, uphold your oaths, defend democracy, and defend the right of your constituent, me, to vote.
That's right. Good job.
Hi, my name's John Murray. I was born at a very early age. Actually, in 1946, and my beautiful wife back here in the blue sweater, she's 25. Anyway, a lot of you have mentioned World War II. Well, my dad was an Army intelligence officer in World War II. And he told me, I don't know, one day when I was a teenager, John, he says, class doesn't have anything to do with birth, wealth, or formal education. He says, how you treat people. What are we getting from our government right now? It's horrid. Anyway, my wife and I have been really fortunate. we did the Silicon Valley routine for about 20 years, and then after that, I've been accused of being a professor. And so we've lived for 24 years working with indigenous people around the country and in Fiji and some other places. So what I wanted to say here is sort of my version of a big picture view of things. So I'll read it to you. One of my favorite artists is Charlie Russell. If you ever get to Helena, look at his painting of Lewis and Clark Meet the Flathead Indians in Ross's Hole. It's behind the Speaker's podium in the House of Representatives. Anyway, so need to context. Okay. My talk is called "In the Presence of the Sacred." This is Charlie Russell. My brother, he would say, when you come to my lodge, the robe will be spread and a pipe will be lit. Okay, so, let me get a hold of myself here. In the presence of the sacred, those things we hold dear are families, friends, and neighbors. I didn't realize how this would affect this horrible man in the White House. Anyway, freedom of speech and assembly, freedom from unreasonable search and seizure, religious freedom, freedom to bear arms, due process under the law, care for the poor, young, infirm, and oppressed. I'll release this. Preservation of our beloved lands and waters, and protection of our cherished other than human relatives, the animals and the plants. Outrage and fury.
Yep.
Anything emotion. Appropriate moral responses to the brazen assault on our lives, values, happiness, and institutions by the cruel, lawless Trump administration. Screw that bastard. Body and soul for as long as it takes to build common ground. That's what we're doing here today. And defeat these arrogant, insatiable autocrats who, masquerading as conservatives, foster fear, ignorance, economic chaos, treasonous alliances with our adversaries, and pure, unadulterated evil, rather than encouraging community, compassion, creativity, and harmony. We must organize, strategize, and take action to stop their shameless attempts to destroy our country. We must also create an equitable, pluralistic democracy that recognizes our interdependencies and responsibilities, provides free college and vocational education like most countries in the world that are civilized do, free quality health care, an enhanced social safety net, union membership, agricultural support, a constitutionally informed military. I really appreciate the military, but some of the things that are being proposed about using military to go after protesters is absurd. Fair, progressive taxation, a balanced budget, unfettered voting rights, affordable housing, help for the homeless. Our daughter works with homeless people in Denver. And a renewed emphasis, and this I get from the Indians, courage, fortitude, generosity, and wisdom. Truth, solidarity, and imagination will be central in weaving this new regenerative world. Hoka hey!